Welcome, everyone. This is Piney Noodles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Harry Edwin.
Hi.
Harry Endis.
Hey, everybody.
Maven.
Hey, y'all.
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
And this week we'll begin with our big news for the week. And that is composer Chance Thomas will be returning to do the score for Mordor.
Yeah!
Whee!
There was much rejoicing in the community.
And in the stream, if you get a chance to watch it or see reviews of it, there were some fun teasers of the landscape for Mordor.
Some fun teasers that you'll...
Well, he said two words that made me more excited for Mordor than I have been for Mordor up to this point. And let's be honest, I'm pretty excited for Mordor. And those two words were a descriptive phrase: industrial hellscape. People, that's so awesome. I mean, just the kind of like imagery you get just from that phrasing is, and then imagining the score that's going to go with it. Yeah, we're in for some creepy.
Yeah, that would be
I'm so excited. They also teased that there's going to be another big announcement, like an even possibly bigger announcement, though nobody has a clue what could possibly be bigger than this, next week.
And
that's also music related.
Yeah, that's music related.
That's also music related and Chance Thomas related.
Yeah, what about Chance Thomas can be...
Speculation is running wild. Everything from he's going to rescore all of Gondor to, I don't know, I've seen some other crazy stuff out there. Speculation is running pretty rampant.
Oh, it is? All right.
Yeah.
So next week, we should have more actual news.
Is there a date when that announcement is going to be made, or do we not know yet?
Oh, it's going to be next Thursday during Cordovin's weekly stream.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I predict that we'll have more news on it next week.
Yeah.
All right. And unfortunately, that is the only news this week, since, as I mentioned last time, there's no Beacon because Cordovin was on vacation except for the hour in which he was interviewing Chance Thomas this week.
Yeah.
So let's head to store sales, because they did at least give us that information.
Yeah, Quartermaster, you picked up his previous duties to give us at least what's on sale this week. The free sample is a sturdy steel key ×1. Use coupon code MORELOOTBOX 1 time per account, and that's more MOR lootbox 1 time per account. Also,
does that have to be lowercase?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
It's in there as lowercase, but I don't think the store actually makes a difference. And then 25% off some legendary stuff. It's really not all that legendary, but it's legendary slot unlocks, legacy tier upgrades, and legacy stuff you should not spend your LOTRO points on. Save them for something better. Save them for Mordor when Mordor comes out.
Yeah, I guess they couldn't come up with an exciting sale when the beacon was not up. Let's head into our site news, and we'll begin with our community events for May 26th to June 1st. And this will be, of course, the stuff for Memorial Day weekend and a pool party. Oh, yeah, the pool party's already happened, but okay.
Well, most of the stuff
most of the stuff's already happened.
That's the problem with the community events calendar coming out on Friday and then it being for all of the weekend, and then we do the podcast on Saturday and it comes out on Monday. So by the time the podcast is out on Monday, everything's already happened.
Yep. So, yes, therefore, most of the stuff is, if you want to look to see if there's anything on any of the days in which you are available between now and then, you could check. There seems to be about one item per day for most of the days. Except for the weekend where there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Shire Fest is coming.
Yeah, we do have the Shire Fest on the weekend of the 16th through 18th.
It also says that one of the bands had to pull out, so there's a spot available. So you can go to the Crick Hollow Music Forums or contact the person in charge if you haven't gotten it in there yet.
Now, I also noticed that there is a music festival on Brandywine the week before that, but that's a much smaller scale event. It's only on the 10th. Does anyone know anything about Brandywine's festival?
I don't.
I don't either.
I can't go to anything that week because I'm going to a wedding.
All right. Bands include the Shire Tramps, Arda, Runic Knights Orchestra, Harlequins, the Country Bluegrass Band, and Goblin Fire, and more. So therefore, I guess they're trying to see if they could come up with Brandywine's version of Weatherstock or something like that.
Runic Knights Orchestra, I believe, is of course their own band.
Well, I've seen Runic Knights Orchestra all over the place.
Yeah.
They probably have versions of the band on every server or something like that.
A lot of bands do that.
Yep.
Have concert, band will play.
Have concert, band will play. That's right, because Lily Kate used to take us all over the place also on occasion.
If you schedule it, they will come.
Yep. Just give them enough time so that they could get to the right level they need and get their minis up to the right level, so to speak, if they have certain instruments they need to play. Let's then go to the Family Line Part 136, Fallen Kin.
Fantastic job as ever.
Yeah. And we also have Critters. Critters galore this week.
Lots of critters.
Lots of critters. 58, 59, and 60. Well, 58 and 59 were put together. I guess when you call something a team with a dash of Plan B was putting them together. And 60, which is Critters Aren't Oathbreakers.
And don't you forget it.
And don't you forget it. Or whatever that horrible sound those Oathbreakers make.
Oh, it is that horrible, weird moaning sound.
Uh-huh. That was a pretty good impression of it.
It was.
It was.
Props to Pine Leaf.
All right. Then let's head into Poems of the Pine, Ride of the Rohirrim. Here gone the herald lay hacked on the ground, for orcs held the road the riders would take. We must warn Rohan that the route was blocked, so he plunged into the wood where the Wozes beat their drums. The Wozes were wild but willing to help, as the orcs were foes, the foulest kind. We recovered the corpse of the clan's eldest son to pay the price of their precious aid. The Wozes knew a route the riders could take, where the stones from the quarry were carried to Gondor. We cleared a path and prepared to ride, for the winds had changed to challenge Mordor. At the edge of the field, the fires were seen that burned and blackened the city. The horn was sounded, and the horses charged to break the back of the siege.
That's awesome.
Whee!
And that scene in game is really awesome too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. That'll be fun to get to.
How far are you from it right now?
Oh, about, 30, 40, 50 levels.
Just got
No big deal.
Moria.
Something to look forward to, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
something to look forward to. Right now you're in Moria? Oh, yeah.
That'll take a while.
Yeah.
It'll take a day or two. So
No,
what's your...
it'll take a while.
okay, perhaps I was using a little bit of understatement there. Let's head into our new player question of the week, and Arienda. So what's your question?
This week, my question is, how do you deal with reflex? I know that we kind of talked about when we were talking about the different lieutenants that you can get in skirmishes. Some of them have reflex. How do you deal with those? I mean, I know it's going to be class specific, but what's in general the best way to deal with that?
Bring a healer.
That'll work.
Bringing a healer is very useful for that. The second thing to do with is if it's a temporary reflect or is it a permanent reflect. For example, if you're in Dananglore running it in a group, some of the candles, the fire candles, they will have reflex on them.
Okay.
That are
Yeah,
permanent.
that's really annoying.
Yeah, that's always annoying. And yet there are plenty of hunters and champions that have lost their lives to that. So that's a permanent one. So therefore, you can't take the advice that we have for the...
That's just
for the
bring
Priest of
a
Vengeance.
healer and hope you don't DPS it down before the healer can heal you.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing on those. Now, fortunately, the ones on those tend to have lower ones that, like, for example, the Priest of Vengeance, its reflect that it gives its friend is 200%. So in that case, if you see blades twirling around a mob, don't hit that mob. Wait for the reflect to cancel it. So in other words, it's just wait it out and get healed while you're being bashed upon by the thing, but avoid hitting it. And the case of the permanent ones, obviously that strategy doesn't work. So, of course, having a healer while you go against it, and if it's one that's 100%, then yeah, it's going to be a little bit tougher on there. Now, what I do as a warden, for example, is I tend to use my leeches.
Okay.
Simply because, all right, I'm leeching, so not I'm damaging it and leeching health from it at the same time. So yes, I'm taking damage, but I'm healing myself in order to counteract it.
Okay.
But not all classes have that luxury.
If you're on something like a champion, you just stick to your auto attacks and try not to hit it with big skills unless your morale is up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Run away if you have to. Kind of run it around in circles while your herbalist catches up to how much damage you've done to yourself, and then start all over again, and eventually wear it the heck down. It's so annoying.
Yeah. When you get to Mirkwood, you'll be running a skirmish called Strike Against Dananglore.
Uh-huh.
And
is that the one with the catapults?
No,
that's Protectors at Thanglehad.
That's not
Sorry, wrong one.
Dananglore. Its feature, one of the encounters is a fire light bulb that has a reflect on it. Now, if you're in group, even the regular ones will have reflex on it. But if you're solo, only the encounter mob will have it. And that particular one, Ringalad, it used to be called the Ringala the Impossible or something like that. You know, I can't remember the thread. There was a thread on that on Ringala on how much of a pain it can. It's even a pain today, even though they've nerfed Ringala down a little bit since then.
It is still really annoying.
You've got to be right. So therefore,
that's the encounter that I see coming, and I'm like, yeah, nope.
Right. Now I've done it once on every. Now, if you're in a group, it's fine because you've got the healers that can help you with and stuff like this, and the regular fireballs have reflex anyway, so therefore what's one more fireball with the reflex? But if you're soloing,
you can sort of switch off who's attacking it too, so you spread it around a little bit.
Right. So therefore I found it easy on a warden because I just used my heal abilities and stuff like that. But On some other classes, it was very tough. And if you've got an archer, what I'm doing there is asking the archer. If I had an archer, for example, the archer would be firing it because the reflect on Ringalad at least does not affect soldiers.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's true.
So therefore, you let the soldier take a lot of the brunt work, and you be a little bit more liberal in the
Kind
damage.
of plink here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But make sure before you face Ringalad that you clear out everything else all because you might be wanting to kite this thing. And Ringalad, of course, also has a aura that does damage and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So therefore, it's not just a matter of just waiting there forever because then the aura will burn you down. So
one way or another, it's just gonna destroy you.
Yeah. So, but overall, the idea then is if you've got to reflect in, as Terry said, get healing is probably the best thing. Know it's there. Know it's there. Have an idea of how much damage it's going to reflect, and then be prepared for that. Now, there are some reflectors that only reflect when they receive certain types of damage. For example, raids are notorious for that. If there are certain types of damage which, if it does to it, they'll do it. And there's also some types of damage that damages it more. And strangely enough, you have some that are really good types of damage to it, like light damage, no reflect on it, and like does full damage to it.
Okay.
Western is damage that does full damage to it, but it does reflect that. Balerion, it doesn't reflect it, but Balerion doesn't do full damage. So you have to choose your poison on that one. But if you do light damage, for example, or something like that, you're set.
Okay.
I think it's probably a good idea to look at the tooltip that's on that one because it's hard to remember exactly which ones it is. So
yeah.
So therefore, I suggest you look at the tooltip on it to see what the exact ones that it does reflect. It doesn't say which ones it's susceptible. You need a help of a lore master to get the list of ones it's most susceptible to.
Okay.
But it's undead, so therefore, undead tend to be susceptible to Westernese and to light.
Okay.
Anything else that anyone has to add to this?
Nope, I think you pretty much covered it.
All right. So we'll go into what we did this week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, I did a lot of stuff, actually. But first and foremost, I completed the epic story so far on Land of Alteri.
Yeah!
Nice. Volume 4, Book 8. I'm so excited. Some of it I actually did on stream. So if you've not seen the Gollum session play, or even if you have seen the Gollum session play, I recommend that you check it out. Yeah.
There's a what?
There's a Gollum session play.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
Not only is it awesome.
You can listen to Sans do some
awesome session play. Having Sans' reaction to spiders as your background audio as you're going through the session play just kicks it up to that much higher. I have to go through and highlight it from the other day because I definitely want to keep that one for posterity.
Please do.
And then I did some skirmishing because I decided to take advantage of the fact that Pine Leaf was still available after last week's podcast. And I've always had really good luck with Pine Leaf and skirmishing. Like every time I skirmish with Pine Leaf, I wind up with an encounter that I've not gotten before. So I managed to complete 2 of my skirmish encounter deeds. So I only have 2 skirmishes left to go for Skirmisher of Middle-earth.
Woohoo!
That's skirmish encounter deeds, not 2 actual skirmishes.
We should do that. Do that next, girls. Yay.
I think it's a total of 6 encounters that I'm missing. So yeah, that was awesome. And then new Baby Berg on Arkenstone has a new challenge. So last week I talked about the fact that I have a new Baby Berg on Arkenstone. And the challenge was I was going to see how far he could get without getting into combat or trouble of any kind. Well, mostly getting into combat. And the answer was level 12. because I was working on the last bar, the last pub that I needed for Shire Brewmaster, and I was going into that bandit camp to get the yeast for the golden perch, and one of the bandit pew-pews spotted him and broke his stealth, and so that broke the challenge. So then I decided I really was just not into doing another baby berg from scratch, so I checked to see how many LOTRO points that I had, and then I promptly spent them on Gift of the Valar, and took him to 50, which dropped him at the doors of Moria.
You can't escape it, Terry. You can't do it.
So I did not immediately go into Moria. I actually spent much of yesterday, the rest of the field trip, and then this afternoon working on the burglar quests to open up, to finish up the burglar stuff that you need, like the quest you get at 15 and the quest you get at level 30, and there's one more quest, and then the level 50 quest where you go get your implements. And I got all of that stuff taken care of, and then I took him through the expedition prologue. Well, just the book prologue, because I didn't do the expedition side quests. But basically, here's the challenge for the new baby berg who's entered Moria, and I'm streaming this. So the stream title is "How Lost Can I Get?" The only crafting he's done was he did the crafting tutorial for Explorer so that he could get the Easily Lost title, because I have filtered out in the minimap in the radar, I filtered out everything except for campfires, points of interest, and fellows, and then I did the same on the minimap, on the actual map. So I'm running with no quest guide. I have no quest guide, and turned off all of the indicators. And then I still have floating names on because they help me kind of figure out where I am on the screen, because if you go into stealth on a burglar, there's a chance you can lose your character because you're invisible. And without the floating names turned on, I have actually gone, what happened? What did I do with my character? People say that it's the center of the screen, but that doesn't necessarily always work for me to know where the heck my character is. So floating names are on, but I've turned the opacity down so that they're fairly see-through. And then I turned down the size for a lot of other indicators on the screen, so it's freed up a lot of screen landscape for me. And so I have overhead floating names, but that's the only thing overhead. So I have no kind of indicators whatsoever. I don't have quest strings. I don't have vendor indicators. I don't have the Relic Master indicators. I have to go up and actually either look at the dwarf's name or talk to them. And so I've finished up Durin's Threshold, and I've gotten through most of Dolphin View actually already. Without really, I only got lost-ish once so far. But yeah, so the stream title is "How Lost Can I Get in Moria?" because I'm running it with no quest guide. So I pop up the map and it doesn't tell me where to go. I mean, I can see where I am in relation to other points of interest, but I don't have like a quest indicator thingy on the map. It's just topography sort of thing. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm gonna see how much of Moria I can get done that way.
Oh, before you go crazy?
No, I'm pretty sure that I've already crazy for attempting this challenge.
Okay.
But before I can't stand to be in Moria anymore and have to go do something else. So that was some of my week. Arindis, how was yours?
Well, it was not nearly as much fun as yours. I had finals this week, so I wasn't really able to do much of anything. But this week should be lighter, so hopefully next week I'll have done some more interesting things. Since Window, what did you do this week?
Well, this week I got to skirmish with Pineleaf and Tyriadwin, which was pretty fun. Even if I did kind of mess up one of the encounters almost. And then on girls, I took my level 55 burglar to Carn with the rest of the girls. And spent most of my time visiting the day spa. Had a very nice, relaxing time, laying back in the water. Sometimes remembering to tread water. Maybe occasionally retreating on accident, not realizing that pushing the escape key would do that. Anyway.
At least twice.
At least twice. Yeah, I definitely fell in more than twice. I think the last count I remember was 7 when I stopped counting.
Yikes.
And I was paying very, very careful attention to where holes were in bridges and floors and other things that were going to drop me right into the water. And almost invariably, either I would get punted, or in trying to avoid the hole that I was noticing, I would fall right into another or right off of the bridge or walkway. So, yeah. I'm glad Terry had the camera, because otherwise anyone would see was
it would have been a lot
screen.
of you have been incapacitated by misadventure.
Yeah. But it was still fun. And I discovered nasty, disgusting, gross, uncouth spiders.
Yeah.
In 2 different places. Oh, they were bad. While finishing the current epic. But I did finish the current epic. And, yeah. The spiders were gross. I think only one of my reactions to spiders made it to stream. Only the Golem one, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But,
Because we did the warband before I started streaming.
Oh,
and there was
that
also
was the third. The cave was the one I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah,
they're like, go pull down a few cobwebs. No, that place is infested and disgusting, and we need to
set it on fire.
Set it on fire, or plant some TNT, or
Just get a couple rune keepers.
Something. Like, destroy the place. Don't try to take down a few cobwebs. Seriously. Anyway, that was my week. Maven, how was your week?
Well, as excited as Terry and Sans are being about having finished the epic, I have to admit that I was unintentionally a stinker. We got to a point in the epic where I was like, oh, there's this instance. We have to do this instance. And honestly, I thought this instance will be a great place to stop, because I didn't remember how the instance ended. The problem was the instance ended at a point that you couldn't stop. There was no way you could stop. And so I felt really bad, because the instance is awesome. It's an awesome instance. But then it's like, we came out of this.
Because I was just saying,
Terry goes,
I really need to stop.
I know. She was saying she really needs to stop. And I thought this would be perfect. This would be a great way to end it, bloody. And then we end the instance, and Terry comes out and she goes, Trish! I forgot. That's where the instance ended. So anyway, as happy as we are that we finished it, I felt bad, because, it would have been nice if y'all could have done it when you were awake. But it's okay. It was still pretty exciting.
It was really epic, though.
It was really epic. I could do that. I could do that very end part, the cinematic. I could just do that over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing. It's amazing.
I'm pretty sure that is unlocked on your character screen.
Yeah. I think, so I was thinking, I could go loop it. I'll just loop it.
Oh, and then you could adjust the volume so you won't blast your eardrums unexpectedly because of the difference in volume.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where, boy, when it switched to the cinematic, your ears just boom, loud. Holy smoke. I also unknowingly lied last week during my highlights. I said I had done three. I know.
Gasp.
Forgive me, I have said. Well, I said I had done 3 Force of Dread Terror. Well, what I didn't realize about the Throne of Dread Terror raid is I think it's, I can't say for sure because I'm not an old fart with regard to LOTRO, but I think that it's kind of a little bit back to the days, not quite back as far as Fornos the way it used to be, but like that. So that if you're going to do it, it's like really long. It takes a lot of time.
It's really long.
It's really long. And so I got, we got to the point again where, I did it. I completed the whole thing, but we got to the point, where I had stopped before, where we had quit before. And I thought, oh, okay, this is the final boss. We finished the boss, and the raid leader goes, okay, now for the next one. And I'm like, next one is, so then we go do another one. And then for the next one. And there was like 4 or 5 more hefty.
Oh, yeah.
Fights. Not just trash mop stuff, but hefty.
No, they're
fights.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! But it's worth it because the story story elements in it are really awesome, and the way it ends is really cool. And then we kept, taking turns opening the loot box, and nothing was coming out but rocks and pills, basically. But at the very last loot box, I got a Variag property guard.
Oh.
Variags are the guys you run into up in Tower Druidan. They're like the hillmen
Nice.
of Druidan.
Nice.
And somebody else who got one said, I guess he was at his house and he was sparring with somebody else, and the Variag started fighting the other guy. It's like, that's pretty cool. So that was neat. So I did that. But it was really interesting, and it's one of those things that I thought I would never do, because it just sounded so humongous. So I was really, really happy to have the opportunity to do that. And then also on a different night, I ended up for the very first time doing the raid level version of Thievery and Mischief. Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, that boss fight.
Yeah, you run through town and it's kind of like, it's just a few more mobs, more lieutenants, blah blah blah, and then you get to the boss fight. And it was like, because there's actually 4 of them there, aren't there? At the
4
raid level?
of them.
Oh
Yeah,
my
4.
gosh! Oh my gosh! I mean, I died. Rose killed me. I cannot tell you how many times. But we finally did manage. I think we wiped once, but then we finally managed it. But it was just like, this is definitely different. I mean, the 6-man looks easy compared to the raid level one. Holy moly! Anyway, it was very exciting. So it's kind of nice because I got to do stuff that, again, I just never expected to be able to do, and it's really interesting. I mean, it just makes me appreciate the game. Not so much Thievery and Mischief, but the Dread Terror makes me appreciate the devs more and more. The thought they put into the stories and how they do it and stuff. And so I would love to do that again. I hope we get to some point maybe we get to group together to do when Corey gets to that point, he needs to do that because it's part of the story. But that'll be like 6 years or 7 years down the line. Anyhow, Pine Leaf, what about you? How was your week?
Right, we'll begin with on Arkenstone during the field trip, where we decided to run our level 60-ish characters, ones that were in Mirkwood. So we had a person who had fallen a little bit behind, so we were catching him up at first. We thus ran Thongohad, then we ran Breaching the Necromancer's Gate, which is the point where we had done before. Then we were able now to get to where we're all resuming, and that was Assault on the Ringwraith's Lair. So we did all 3 of those, and the highlight of this was during Assault on the Ringwraith's Lair. We came to the Inner Bailey, and during the counterattack, during the 3rd counterattack, when you have the lieutenants come in, we managed to get Brothers of Destruction. Now we're running this on the 6-player version. Brothers of Destruction plus a Leadfoot Brute.
Oh no.
It hurt.
Yeah, that can be brutal because you've got the brothers. You're trying to see if you get everybody to focus on a brother. But at the same time, you have to worry because if you stand still, the Leadfoot Brute is going to go whack, whack, boom. So we lost a couple of them, but we were able to bring down the brothers, then the Leadfoot Brutes. So therefore, it didn't prove to be too much of a problem. But I think we might have had 2 people that got knocked out during that fight.
I think so, because I rezzed somebody and then I died.
Yeah. Read someone then you died yet. I think that sort of answers the question.
I don't know if more people died than that, but those 2 I know.
Well, I know that there were 2 that went down during the battle. Well, there had to have been at least 2 survivors because I know that I survived, and I know that at least one person that could do reses survived.
Right. I think only 2 people died, but I'm not completely positive.
Then on my Crick Hollow Warden, I cleared out my deed log for the Lone Lands, Erluine, the Troll Shawls, and Heregian.
Congrats.
Yeah, that was... So that took care of the easier ones, because now I'm getting to ones like Ivendim and the Misty Mountains, which has a ton of deeds on it. I managed to get through a number of them. For example, the Wargs, which must have been added since my player went through there, because I cannot believe that I have never killed a warg in the Misty Mountains.
Yeah, it
So
seems
that-
unlikely.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems very unlikely. So therefore, it's impossible to do the epic storyline, I think, without killing at least one warg. Because there's part of the epic storyline. No, the epic doesn't send you to there. Never mind. That's a side quest in there. But I think I did the side quest on that character. But yeah, so the warg quest must have been added later. And that was the main thing I did because I've got there, and in Even Dim, I've also been finishing up on some of the ones in that area. I've done the Gordaran and I've done the Kurgrim, and the Salamanders, but there are still some others in there that I'm still going to have to get doing, and I still have to take care of the Limraffin, for example, and the Giant. So there are still a
Hoth
number
Valendale.
for.
The Limraffin. If you do Hoth Valendale, you can do it
Yeah.
at the but if you run it at really low level, that still counts for Limraffin Slayer.
Yeah.
And there are
Okay,
lots
so
of
I'll-
them.
Yeah, because it's it's the tomb.
I didn't remember there being Limraffin in there for some reason. Okay.
Oh yeah, they're definitely there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's a possibility. So I will look into that and seeing the best way of handling that. Probably doing an instance or something like that. And then, while I was running Legolos for year 7 on the same character, of course, I decided to, had to kill a Mumak. And in this case, I ran the Dome of Stars. I don't know what.
That's how I did it
guys-
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did Dome of Stars. Yeah.
So I was doing Dome of Stars in order to do this. So on my main character, I was saying, let's see, Dome of Stars minimum, that's 75, right? So I went in there, level 75. And I was wondering, why is this feeling tougher than it was the last time I did? Because I had to do it for Lord Opinions also. I had to do
Right.
So I was like, why does this feel so much tougher? Then I eventually think, oh, wait a minute, maybe the minimum's 50. Right, so I ran through there, and I don't know how I managed to survive that fight, but I did manage to squeak through it
Good for you.
and take down the elephant. And I noticed that on Arkenstone, when I was taking my war in there through the same instance, I managed to go through. I remember to take it down to 50, and that fight is almost as tough on that character because my one on Crick Hollow has virtues and equipment so much better than the one on Arkenstone that even though they're both 105, I don't think there's any way in the world that the Arkenstone one could have survived that level 75 fight. I also have to, of course, during the same thing, the low light of course, the Legolas section is kill 41 orcs during the Battle of Helm's Deep. Whee!
No.
And it makes me
Which one?
wonder, hold it,
Which one?
does that mean next week for Gimli we're going to have to do 42 orcs?
Yes.
Which one did you decide to do? I did Glittering Caves, and that was really easy.
Well, I think for thematic reasons, I wouldn't have done Glittering Caves for Legolas. Maybe for Gimli it would be fitting, because Gimli was in the Glittering Caves when he overtook Legolas's number. But
Boy, you're really a stickler.
but I think that I really should have done the Hornburg or the Deep or the.
The Wall.
But I
Probably.
did. The Wall is the one that I actually did.
Well, that makes more sense for Lake. I mean, that makes sense. For
But
Legolas if you're gonna go
I
thematically.
think the Deeping Wall is the one that made most sense for Legolas. I think, which is why I chose that. But I might have done the But the Hornberg, I think, is one that I could tolerate a little bit more than this. Oh, yes, it's been so long since I had done the Deeping Wall that I had forgotten until it was almost too late that, oh, yes, I'm supposed to fire at the opposing catapult, aren't I? Is I was doing all sorts of stuff to they're saying, oh, wait a minute, aren't I supposed to go upstairs and fire at the catapult or something? So fortunately I remember that all times. So that all worked out well. But yes, running an epic battle for that is obviously my favorite thing to do, but let's face it, I know some people were complaining about it on the forums, but Legolas and Gimli, their little contest in Helm's Deep is in the lore, so I guess there's no way they could have left that out. Well, though, if they do leave out Gimli's side of it, I wouldn't be too sad. We currently have 22 supporters on Patreon. If you would like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. This week we did not receive any emails, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. And you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Ariandus at Ariandus, Forte at Forte_Maestro, Maven at Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin. You could follow any of our live shows. We have 4 of these a week. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On the first and third Fridays of each month at 11 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. On the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Academy After School. And every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. Each of our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.